Hello, this is Margaret Ajibade, the STEM Positive Disruptor. And today on Mia's conversation, I have a special guest, Sathvik Redrouthu. He's the co-founder and CEO of Procyon. And he's based in Florida, Clearwater, Florida, and he's coming today and he's telling us that the optical chip is the future for computing and it's the way forward for mankind. Um, just a basic understanding is that the optical chip runs on light from infrared lasers, and he's going to tell us more about it. But even more importantly, Sathvik is still at school. Well, when I say school, he's studying. So he's going to tell us more about it. So again, welcome. The reason why we set up this platform, we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change people's perception and demystify what STEM is. That's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We want to enthuse more young people to think about STEM subjects, but also about taking on as a future. And Sathvik is a good example of what's possible. And that's why I'm so grateful that he's in his busy schedule, he's come on my platform to have a conversation. So again, without further ado, welcome, Sathvik.
Yeah, thank you for having me on today. It means a lot for you to make the time to have me on the podcast.
Well, I'm grateful. Well, thank you. Okay, tell us more. Why is the optical computer chip the way forward? And I know that it's exciting. I know it was something that was developed many years ago. I mean, of course, you just launched yours recently, but it was something that the Bell Lab was something they looked at in the quite a while ago, but never took on. And now you've taken to a new level. So tell us more about and why do you think it's the future?
Well, first of all, the way the current space is with artificial intelligence growing dramatically, with the advent of generative AI, large language models, the necessity for high power computations has been growing dramatically only over the past few decades or the past decade. And this has really brought about a huge demand in computational resources and computing power. And in the 1980s, as Bell Labs tried to perform optical computing, the main drawback was the surrounding technology, the surrounding mirrors and large lasers and large components. They were all so big that we went back to having room-sized computers. And it's only been recently, actually, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that we've been able to shrink those components down to fit on a silicon chip. So now that we're able to have lasers and mirrors on the nanometer scale on silicon chips, that means that we can have really dense processing chips that are able to use light instead of electricity.
Wow, impressive. Do you know, you're quite right. And I think this is something we need to understand because in a way, technology is evolving all the time, and we are now looking to ways to compress it and make it more. I guess when you advance, what you're saying, you also want to make it more accessible and make it easier to use. And you're quite right. I mean, they started off, as you said, many years, decades ago, but now it's only now in this now future that we're seeing the big changes, and that's because of the work that's been going on behind the scene. So just from your perspective, because I know you've got there are others that are involved as well. Why did you feel that this is the way forward? Why is optical chips the way forward for computing for us as human beings?
Yeah, definitely. The primary reason is due to Moore's law. If we have a traditional computer chip like a GPU or a TPU that other people are using in the space, they are fundamentally based on electronic transistors. So these transistors, they're very small. They're like nanometers in size, and you have multiple transistors per silicon chip, like billions even. And the way that traditional computing is improved, or traditional computational power skyrockets, is by making each of these transistors smaller so that you can fit more transistors per silicon microchip. And the problem with that is we're soon approaching the fundamental limit of how small transistors can get. So if we can't make transistors any smaller, then we can't fit more transistors per chip. And that's why we need to find other alternative means of computing that don't rely on transistors at all. And optical computing is an extremely promising way of doing this because of how the light itself is extremely fast, expels negligible heat, and that makes it not dependent on the fundamental transistor way of moving forward.
Wow, I'm so impressed. Thank you so much for the explanation. Do you know, I'm also really quite impressed because you're still at school. You're the Thomas Jefferson, the Jefferson Thomas School, or the other way around.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. So, tell us about what are you currently studying? I mean, I know it's of course it's computing, but what level are you on? Are you near completion?
Yes. Currently it's a high school. I'm in 11th grade,
Wow.
junior year. It's since it's a high school, it's not really like we don't focus on any specific like degree or like subject or anything like that. But I'm currently enrolled in like electronics classes, and I also can currently take some class at university like math, linear algebra, and I also took electricity and magnetism and physics and those kind of courses as well.
Well, I'm so impressed. So, may I ask, how old are you then? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 17. I'm 17.
Wow, I am so impressed because if you fast forward, I mean, you've got this company or you're co-founder of this company, Procyon. Is that, am I pronouncing that right? Procyon.
Procyon.
Procyon. So I apologize. So Procyon, and basically, you have got investors. You've got 30 people, at least you said about 14, 15, but if you look at the wider scale of things, they're growing all the time. At
Yeah.
such a young age, what amazing. You are the future. And I think, in a way, what we're trying to do, we want to infuse more young people that, look, if Sathvik can do this, I can do it as well. And, you know, I'm so impressed. When I say impressed, I'm impressed that you can see, you saw an opportunity, you saw things that you enjoyed, and you investigated, you did some research, you did looked at opportunity. What can I do? How can I improve on what's already been in place? And this is the end result is Procyon with a group of people that believe in the dream, believe in the vision, believe that optics is the way forward, and also the way it's because it's very fast, isn't it? It boosts computer power, and it's amazing that people can see the dream, can see the vision that you have with your co-founder, that this is something that we should look out for. So, and just go back slightly. We do know that optical chip does boost computer power. I think the last time, because you launched a recent prototype, which is the matrix vector multiplier. Is that correct?
Yes.
A few months ago. And how's that doing?
Yeah, the matrix vector multiplier is something we created last year,
Okay.
a few months ago, yeah, as you mentioned. It's able to multiply a 4x4 matrix by a four-dimensional vector using optical capabilities. And we created this, I believe, in August of last year, and we did it at a university lab, University of Maryland, and we got it tested through like external means, like a fiber optic cable that we plug into the chip on the side, and we injected laser wavelengths to test it to make sure it's working not just at a specific setting. And then we also created future prototypes at a different lab in Canada, and we got those manufactured and tested as well. So currently that's sitting in a lab
Okay.
at Applied Nanotools. We're planning on getting it packaged soon and getting it shipped out back to us so we can test it in our own
Environment.
settings,
Yeah.
in like a public setting, not just a like restricted lab setting, because that's
Right.
important whenever you go to consumers. A public setting is always good to test it in.
Of course. You know, I'm so impressed. And you know what's so great about this is that the teachers, the people around you saw what you saw as well. And they actually, in a way, for them to invest in it, they actually say, we want to encourage this transition. We want to encourage the testing and see what is possible, what are the potentials. And this is so important where young people can send that it's not just because you feel that you can see something. If you share that information with others, they can see that as well, and they help to develop and take it to the next level. I mean, you know, as I said, I'm so impressed with you, Sathvik, and it's your co-founder the same age as you or older.
Yes, we're both 17.
What, are you both at the same school?
Actually, we're both based in the same area, but we go to different schools.
Okay, how did you all connect together? Are you friends before, or?
Yeah. We've been working together for the past like 6, 7 years on various engineering projects before we started all of this. Because we've both been into the space. I know he's been really interested in computer science and like engineering back from when he was in like third grade, like very young age. Same for myself. And then we've bonded over that. And then we started like working on these projects. And then we both had the idea to do this one specifically and set out to do it about 2 years ago.
Wow, I'm so impressed. So how did you get the team together? Because this is quite important. Why am I asking this? Because you're not just looking at it from an engineering perspective, you're also looking from a business perspective as well. So how did you both of you pull the team together? Because I know somebody came on as the finance or the marketing side. Is that Pravna? Or Pranav?
Pranav, yes.
Pranav, yes. So I'm speaking, but yeah. So how did you pull the team together?
Yes. Pranav was actually a major proponent in this. So how this started was we actually all three of us we all knew each other. Then me and Jag we worked together to found the startup, and then Pranav came along. We got Pranav because we knew he was really good in the business and marketing side. He also has some experience in energy and things like that. So we got him on to help us build this team. And then our school has a good network where we can create posts or create some sort of like live opportunity. We're working on some sort of a startup to build optical supercomputers. This is the future. And why exactly we think it's the future and why we think it's so important to us that we want to build optical computers. And our school is full of really passionate people. It's a magnet school. It's a STEM school. So everyone at the school is really interested in building like high tech and like really cool things. So a lot of people initially they saw the post and they signed up, and we conducted like interviews and like we just said, it seems you're really interested in working on this. We're really excited to have you on. And from there, the team sort of just built up, and it's evolved heavily since when it first started. I believe we started at maybe it was 7 or 8 people, and then we grew to be around 15. And maybe as the years come, we also plan on expanding to more and more people as well.
I'm so impressed. And because I know that there's some investors in there as well.
Yes.
So how did you get them involved?
Yeah, they're also they're really great. We've we've been working on this ourselves for the past like year or 2 years.
Yeah.
And we've done our own independent work. Like we created our own funds. I know we raised money by teaching our peers AI. I think Jag was my co-founder. He's the main proponent in this.
Okay.
What he did was he started this course, this AI course, where he taught our peers like artificial intelligence and computing and how exactly everything works together. And this was like mainly a tutoring service and then we publicized the tutoring service through the same network. And then from there, we're able to raise around, I believe, $3,000 to $4,000.
Wow.
And then using those $4,000, we funded our initial prototypes. And then from there, we said, okay, this is what we were able to do with $4,000 worth of resources. And I believe that's pretty impressive because they're optical chips and optical hardware that's created with only like minimal resources. And a lot of our investors that we talked to over the past year, we showed our device metrics and our resources, and we showed like our overall vision. And a lot of them, they seemed very impressed and very excited to work with us, and we're excited to work with them as well. And I think it was in May when we talked to Danielle Strockman over at 1517 Fund and 1517 Fund and its partners, and we all got really worked together. We all got really like intertwined, and from there we've been working closely to take it to the next level.
Wow, I'm so impressed. Seriously, you're an amazing guy, and your co-founder Jag as well is an amazing person. And I think what it is that, you know, when you have a vision and people can buy into that vision, they can see the future with it. It just makes life so much easier. And because it's something that you enjoy doing, it's not like tedious for you. It's a passion for you, and so that comes across, and people can see that, and people want to be part of that journey with you. And I'm so grateful for that. So, what is the future? I know that you come to the UK, because I know although you're based in Florida, you're now here in the UK for a few days or maybe a few weeks. I don't know. And you're speaking at a conference. Is it tomorrow or Friday?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And you know, so what's the future? What's the next step for you and for Procyon and, well, just the optical chips in its entirety?
Yeah, definitely. So the way Procyon is currently headed is we have let's take an example here. I think that's always best. Take an example.
Of course.
Let's take the example of Tesla's self-driving car.
Hmm.
So if we have a self-driving car, there's two main things that go into the AI systems. That's what we do at Procyon. We build optical hardware for AI systems.
Hmm.
So within these Tesla self-driving car AI systems, there's the task of like let's say a car is driving and a pedestrian comes across. And the car has to detect, is this really a pedestrian or is this like a mailbox or like what exactly is this and how do we
Sure.
respond accordingly?
Hmm.
That's like these real-time detection tasks. That's AI inference. And that's up till now what we've been focusing on handling. Like those systems have to be really fast. They have to be like state of the art in order to allow people to like live and not get crashed into and that sort of thing. And what we've realized is that optical hardware itself is actually more useful towards the other side of things. So it's the development that goes into building such an AI in the first place that costs companies like Tesla like millions of dollars to train their AIs and develop everything to the point where it is able to do those state-of-the-art predictions. So a lot of existing companies like NVIDIA or Google or like Graphcore or all these existing semiconductor companies or even existing photonic computing companies like Lightmatter, a lot of them, they're able to help with the real-time detection of seeing if that's actually pedestrian or not. And photonic computing companies like Lightmatter, they're solely focused on those real-time detection. And what we've trying to accomplish with photonics is the opposite, the development and training costs,
Sure.
because no other photonic computing startup is able to do those like training costs. They're all focused on the inference. So that's what the next few years look like for Procyon, just figuring out like and building chips, continuing to produce prototypes for the training side of things. And what we're trying to do is we've been talking to prospective customers,
Okay.
and we want to over the next year create and design on silicon enough where we can have a customer demo video or some sort of thing that shows that okay, our hardware actually works. We want to show it working with their existing pipelines, whatever problem they're trying to solve. We want to create a silicon chip for it and then show them over a video that, okay, this is actually working. And then from there, we hope to scale to have our chips maybe someday actually be used in Tesla cars or used in like Google compute data centers or something.
Wow, that would be
And then,
amazing.
yeah, that would be the dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in 5 to 7 years, we want to create full servers, like optical servers,
Yeah.
like as opposed to traditional electronic servers that people can
Indeed.
house in data centers and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That would be
Wow.
what.
Yeah, as you know, I believe you will achieve that. I believe this is, as you're saying, the passion is, you can hear the passion in you. You can see what you can, and I think in a way, this is amazing because, again, we want the industry to hear that. So we want the industry to look at what you're doing and see how they can tap into it now, because this is golden nuggets if you think about it, because it hasn't been tested, but this is what you're trying to achieve, and it's actually evolving it all the time till you get it perfect, where it can fit into the different elements, as you talked about, for example, the Tesla car and how it's going to work, and I think this is something that we have to be aware of. So based on you though, so thank you very much for that. What about you? What's your future like? Are you still going to continue to study after? Are you going to go on to university, or are you going to decide I'm just going to carry on with my dream here?
Yes, yeah. The current plan is to continue developing our hardware and our chips and our software. And me personally, I plan to do that for however long we're a company for. Hopefully that's years into the future, right? And then in terms of study, I plan to just continue. And then in 12th grade, if everything is going well, if we have like a lot of traction and a lot of computing and maybe even some prospective customers we've been talking to, then me and my co-founder and two others, Pranav Velaleth, the marketing and business person,
Yeah.
and one of our lead technical architects, Pranav Vade. We're all really involved in making this like reality happen. So
Wow.
we're all planning on taking a gap year out of high school, and we plan to work on this like more in depth as we take a gap year and have like full time to go
To
over
focus
it
on
and
it.
do this. And maybe we plan to move over to Silicon Valley if all of that's, facilitated well,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
plan to work on everything in Silicon Valley where everything's like really well connected and what nice access and
Yeah, yeah.
so
Do
on.
you know, I believe the future is bright for you. And I believe, because what I'm hearing is whether all of you are actually all still in high school.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. That is so, do you know, that's a dream. And I think what I'm so grateful for you to come on board is that you will enthuse so many young people because it's possible. And I think sometimes young people are not able to see how they can get past the next stage or get to the next stage or see their vision come alive. But what you're saying is that if you have friends that have similar interests as well, you can have that conversation with them. You can talk about, you can test things because, when we're young, we try different things. We're not thinking about the money here or money there. What we're saying, we want to try it and see how far can we push it. You're not limited. You don't put limits on yourself. And I think this, to me, Sathvik, you're just an amazing guy. I'm so proud of you. And I'm not sure your parents are proud of you. So many people are proud of you. And that you are the future. And you and your team, Raj, as well as the other guys together, you are the future. And I think we will be in the next few years, not even 7. I know you project 7 years, but I mean, next few years, I'm sure we'll be seeing great things happening from you, and we'll be hearing news on you in the media in so many ways. Even people who invest in you in such big ways because of your dream. And again, what you're doing is you're pushing the boundaries. What you're saying is that this is possible. We are testing it out. We're seeing. We know what the results can be. All we need is for some company to invest and say, look, we're going to take a chance here. We're going to see how far we can go. And companies are looking for the likes of yourself to bring that dream alive. So I'm celebrating today. I'm celebrating not just you, but your co-founder as well, and the other guys that are around you, and those who've seen the vision and sort of seen your passion, not just you and your team, and they've invested in you, not just in the financial aspect, but also in time, and schools, universities that are saying, we want to try this. I'm going to see how far we can push this as well. So I'm so great. I thank you so much. I know you came on. I know you're busy. You want to see everything in London before you go back. But again, I'm grateful that you've come on my platform to talk to me and just to share your dream. And as I said, we are celebrating it. I'm celebrating it in such a maximum way. And I really do want people to listen to our conversation, because this is what we do. We want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change perception, we want to demystify. And that's what you're doing. You're raising awareness, you're changing the perception of how we see things as being done. And I think this is so, so important. And we want to showcase that, and we want to celebrate that too. So, I can talk with you all day, but I know you just excite me. Seriously, I'm going to be watching out for you, because you really are a great guy. Just listen to you, so chilled out and so cool, and just want us to want more as well, want the vision to come alive like now. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on board.
Thank you so much for having me again. This has been really exciting to talk to you about this.
But I'm
Really fun to
excited
talk
you
to people
talked.
about this too.
Well, thank you. Again, this is what we want to do. We want to share the news. We want to spread the word. And this is another platform for you to do that. And we pray, we hope that the audience hear you and they share that. And we pray, we also hope that we have people who are visionary, who can see the opportunity where the optical chip is concerned. It's about boosting the computer power. It's about changing the way we do things, or improving the way we do things. It's not radicalized in the sense that it's going to change, but it's saying that we can take it to the next level. And that's what you're saying. And we want it to be a way to test the ground and see what we can do. So we hope that investors are listening, will listen, or someone will listen and they share it with somebody in those big companies, so they can invest in you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much again, Sathvik. Thank you again for coming on this platform, Mia's Conversation. My special guest, Sathvik Redrouthu,
Yeah.
and is the co-founder and CEO of Procyon. And what an amazing conversation. Please listen to this conversation and spread the word. Let's try and see if we can raise the banner, raise this to the next level and get investors involved in this, because it's a great project. and it can change, and it's the potential to change and make the community better for the as you said, humanity is there. Just go for it. So let's look out for this and let's invest in this. So thank you again once more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.